Good morning, everybody, and welcome to our show called FPA. I am one of your hosts, Alfonso, and I got my partners, Paulo and Fabricio, right next to me, so we can talk about our podcast. Because we've done a lot of episodes, but this time we're going to answer some questions from our fans about our podcast.
You are right, Alfonso. We are going to be answering some interesting questions. So if you want to participate and ask a question, you need to go to the link that we will be sending right now. You write your question and then send it so Pablo can read it to us so we can answer it.
That's right, and our fans will also ask why are we doing this? Well, the answer is pretty simple. This is our episode number 10, so we wanted to make a special episode this time and answer the questions of all our fans. And this episode we will call it Who, Why, How, and What.
That title is pretty good and original, Paulo. So before we start with the questions, we just wanted to say thank you to all our fans because we have been growing pretty fast in only 10 episodes. We have already 2 millions of fans subscribed with 30 millions of views on YouTube, 1.3 million followers on Instagram, and each of our individual accounts have been growing too fast. And you guys have been sending us messages that inspire us to keep doing these episodes and to keep entertaining you guys. So it's amazing how we made one episode thinking that we were doing this stuff for fun, but by the time we have been recording episodes, people were liking this a lot. So yeah, thank you so much.
That was a pretty good message to our fans, and you're right. We were doing these things just for fun, and then we began to grow that fast, and we still are growing a lot. So let's hope we can keep going and keep growing this community. So let's start with the questions. So, Pablo, is there any question that some fan has sent to us?
Yes, Fabricio. It looks like there is one question of Walter Centeno that says, Hi guys, I have been a fan since you had 5,000 subscribers and you guys are awesome. My question is, why did you guys start the show? And who did you guys have the inspiration of making this podcast?
Well, thank you for the question, Walter. Well, we got the inspiration from the podcast The Joe Rogan Experience, logically hosted by Joe Rogan, which is a famous commentator of the UFC. And we started thinking if we could create our own podcast, so we started with our first episode and it received good critics, positive messages, and we absolutely loved it. Even after our first episode, lots of people wanted to help us so we could have our own studio podcast so we could start filming more episodes.
Yeah, that is a complete answer. Now let's see another question. Now we have a question from our friend Victor Sanchez. He asks what our podcast is about because he's a new listener and does not know what's going on.
First of all, thanks for your question, Victor, because we haven't thought about our new listeners who might not know about our show. We mostly talk about classic novels and its authors so that people can have a general knowledge of books and how every author's past has relates to their novels. Also, some people come to us when they are unsure about buying a book.
Great answer, Alfonso. I hope that all newcomers are now informed of what we discuss here in the podcast.
Guys, wait, before we continue, a little disclaimer for our listeners. It is important for us to tell them that although we criticize books, we don't mean to disrespect anybody's opinion since every single person has a different opinion. So don't feel discriminated nor disrespected if our opinion is completely different to yours.
You know what, Pablo? Now that you mention it, I also think that it's one of the main reasons our podcast is unique and cannot be compared to other ones, since ours is 100% honest because we don't care about what other people are going to say about us. And that's why we are always ourselves and share our honest opinion about every single novel.
Yeah, right, Fabricio. Now let's see this question from Alberto and Hernandez. The question is, which will be the next book you guys will criticize, and how about you get an interview with the author of the book?
That is a very good question. We were thinking of The Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde by Robert Louis Stevenson.
Yes, you are right, and sadly, I will not be here on the next episode because of personal reasons.
Yes, that is unlucky. We will be missing you, Fabricio, but we don't know yet if we could interview Mr. Robert because he will have to make a journey from Scotland all the way to the United States for only a single interview with us.
But it's not only an interview, he will be in one of the best podcasts in the world, so of course he will accept this. Not only to help us, but also so he can have more recognition all over the world.
Yeah, you're right. Now I have a question from Kylian Mbappe that says, "What is on the podcast that makes it different from other podcasts?"
I think that this podcast has been working and it has been growing over the time because we just have been ourselves in every episode. And I think that our confidence of being able to start this project and keep working on it makes the difference of other podcasts.
Yeah, now we're going to talk about Robert Louis Stevenson life and career.
Yeah, so let's see. Robert Louis Stevenson. He was born on the 13th of November in 1850 in Edinburgh, and he is a Scottish novelist, poet, and travel writer, and he was educated also in Edinburgh.
I have some other details of his life. He declared himself atheist, and since he was a kid, he felt attracted to literature.
And some books that he wrote were Treasure Island, Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, which we will criticize, Kidnapped, and A Child's Garden of Verses.
In the future, we will read and criticize some other books of Mr. Stevenson.
Yeah, totally correct. Well, that was our last question. So if you guys want us to keep doing these types of episodes, you have to comment down below or send us messages or on Instagram so we can know.
Yeah, that's it, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and remember